This video contains spoilers for the June 2024 Archer & Olive subscription box. Viewer discretion is advised. It is almost June and thus almost subscription box time, and I've been very blessed to receive one from Archer & Olive. As you can see, the theme of this box is desk aesthetic. There are not too many things that a new notebook and a pad of paper cannot solve. We're going to get into this one, unpack all of the goodies, so opening it up to have a look. I know it's not the point of the box, but I always just love the packaging. We're gonna have to scoot this guy to the side so that we can get all of these items out and have a proper look at them. As we typically do, we're just going to work from top to bottom in the box, and the first item we have is a little card that tells us what to expect. We have the same message on the front of this one as we do on the front of the box, and if you don't want spoilers, look away now. But I mean, you are watching a spoilers video, but the things that we can expect inside this box are listed on here. We have 8 goodies to unpack, and we're going to have a look at each of them individually. I really like that they include these list cards though, especially in the boxes where some of the items are kind of small and can sometimes get like tucked underneath the packaging and things like that. Having a checklist of what to expect means that you can make sure that you got all of your goodies. But setting that one to the side, and the first actual item we're going to pull out of the box is a set of decorative adhesive tapes, also known as washi tapes. We're going to have a look at each of these individually and have a look at their designs. I will say that I think that the color palette of this box is very much going to be one that speaks to certain people. If you like pastels and muted colors, then this is very much for you. But here we have our tapes looking very cute. We are going to swatch each of these individually, but our first one here is a muted pink color with some little stationery items on it, and we have some little gold foiling on those leaves. So you can see we have rulers and scissors, a pencil, some paper clips, and then also those little botanical designs. Our second one is a pale green, and it's set up like a measuring tape, and that goes from 0 to 24, which makes it perfect for pretty much any size of journal, or at least up to B5, because a B5 is 23 centimeters down. So if you wanted to turn this one into maybe a ruler for your journal or measure the entire length of the page, you have plenty of numbers for that. Very cute. The next one we have is a rainbow checkbox tape, and these boxes are a little bit smaller than a 5mm dot grid. We're of course going to swatch this one out and see how it lines up with that dot grid, but again it's a kind of muted rainbow, which is really pretty and matches with the rest of the box so far. And this one's another more functional one, and that's a time ladder. So this is on a darker green, which is still muted, has some gold foiling, which is very pretty, and that one goes for a full 24-hour span as well. Of course we had to swatch those ones out, so just putting them onto a spare piece of Archer & Olive paper that I had, we can have a look at those designs a little bit closer and see what they would look like when you actually put them on paper. I think the foiling is pretty cute. We've got that on 3 out of the 4 tapes, so just those check boxes that doesn't have the foiling. And if we have a look at those check boxes a little closer, you can really see that rainbow coming through, which is very cute. And the boxes are all smaller than the dot grid on the paper, and they don't perfectly line up. So if you were to make a really long checklist of items, you are going to see it kind of skew as you get towards one end. Doing a measurement with a ruler alongside that ruler tape though, that one lines up really well. And we have a similar alignment with this time ladder where each of the hours is a centimeter or 2 dot grid boxes. It's really nice to see a combination of functional and decorative in this box, so that is the set of 4 tapes which we can look forward to. Putting those ones back into their box, nice and safe and secure. And the next item we have is a memo pad. I know the packaging isn't the point, but look at the little scissors and the little pencil. It's like a really tiny fat pencil. It's very cute, but we're going to open this one up as well, as to be expected, because this is like an unboxing. If you want to get your packaging open without damaging it, if you've got a palette knife, that works. I'm just going to use the side of my scissors, slip that in there and pull that open. Safe. Or at least safe enough, like without ripping the box. Maybe not the safest way to use scissors. So this little notepad has a little push pin on the front, which is very cute. And if we open that up, it's like a college ruled type deal. So we have the little margin in red and then the lines going across in blue, like you would have in kind of, I don't know, a typical notepad paper. The paper is 120 GSM rather than 160 like a typical Archer & Olive notebook. And if we flip that one over, you can see we have a ruled grid on the back. This is something that I hope we have a full notebook released in one day, because I think it would just be a lot of fun. Maybe not in blue like we have here, but it does match the vibe of like, you know, desk stationery aesthetic. But maybe if we had like a pale grey, that would be really cool. I want a full notebook with this, but that little memo pad has plenty of pages in it. And I like that the back is nice and sturdy and the front feels kind of special as well. The little push pin is really sweet, but in terms of the number of pages, we have 80 sheets in here. And as for dimensions, it's 7.5 centimeters across by about 12.5 centimeters down, or 3 inches by 5 inches. Putting the memo pad carefully back into its packaging and grabbing out our next item, this one is a set of dual tip pens. And on the front here you can see it says chisel and fine liner. So although they look like calligraphs or acrylographs, actually something different to what we've seen before, which is pretty exciting. On the back it gives us our colour palette, so we have eucalyptus, new grey, barley pink, green tea and salted sea, and again all of these are really muted tones. And if we take this sticker off with probably great difficulty, we'll be able to have a look at them. If in doubt, use a craft knife, but be careful while you do it. So grabbing those guys out. Oh, thank the Lord, we have the little sticker labels to stick on here as well. I really appreciate getting these labels. Like, I'd prefer if they were printed on for me, but because they're in that, I don't know, the font that Archer and Olive typically uses, it just makes it feel a little bit nicer and more put together than me trying to make my labels myself. So grabbing these guys out to have a look at them. In terms of the 3mm tip that we have on this end, that is the chisel. So similar to like your typical highlighter. And then on the other end, we have the fine liner, which is a 0.4mm. So one of those little kind of plasticky nibs rather than, I don't know, the felt nib, which is always my preference because it feels like they're a little bit more durable. We're gonna have to swatch these though, and we're gonna have to swatch both ends. For the chisel tip, I decided to do a swatch which has 1, 2, and then 3 passes over, so you can kind of see how the color builds. And then for the bullet tip, I just did a little squiggle. I will say I do very much like the plasticky nib of those. I think that they do feel a little bit more durable, and the chisel tip looks really professionally made. Like, it feels really good quality. It has a metal casing around it. I'm not a pen specialist, so I don't really know what all of the technical terms are, but they look really cool. You can see our little color range here. I promise you that that pinky tone doesn't look as weird as I've swatched it out to. It's just when I pressed it down, I didn't press down with a consistent kind of angle, so I didn't get the same kind of dimension as I did on the others, but they are a really nice palette. I'm not usually so drawn to pastels, but I think that everything feels really cohesive in this box. I love a cohesive palette. I'm gonna have to put those little labels on. I typically like to put them on so that they're underneath the Archer and Olive label. So like if you read Archer and Olive this way, then twisting it to there, that's where I typically put the label on. But that is a future me problem. I have more things to unbox. Putting those ones back into their box though, making sure to include the little label, and then setting that one to the side because our next item is a set of sticker sheets. According to the front here, this is a matte finish and we get 2 sheets in the set. So we'll open up the back here. Trying to be careful again. I just feel like I need to preserve the packaging, even though, I mean, this isn't going to live in its packaging after I get them out, but alrighty, let's do it. Oh, 2 sheets of each. I love that. Bonus. Flipping over though. Oh, they're so cute. So we'll start with the one on the bottom here first. So in this one we have like a full year in pixels. So January through to December along the top and then 1 through 31 on the side. This one has a little box for each of the days of the year effectively. And you could just grey out the ones that don't actually exist, like February 31st and stuff like that. And we also have some little weekly trackers, and I am so dang chuffed that they start on a Monday because all of my weeklies, and I mean my calendars as well, they all start on a Monday, so to have these start on a Monday is very nice to see. So we have 2 sheets of this, so 2 of those year in pixels tracker, and then 2 sets of the 7 different habit trackers. You can see in terms of their coloration again, this very much fits our kind of like pastel muted vibes, which again, I just love a cohesive palette, so that's really cute. And then on our other set of stickers, we have a couple different options. We have a mood tracker section here. We've got 2 of those. So you can see it has like effectively a little dot to line up with each of the moods, where a more positive mood is at the top and a lower mood is at the bottom. And then you'd use this to make yourself a little graph, like a little line graph, maybe a bar graph. And that goes from 1 through 31, so spans a, I don't know, full dayed month. Along with that, we also have some other options. So we have the little clipboards at the top, either with some patterned or lined kind of decoration on them. And those ones have a little circle cut out at the top, so they do look like a little clipboard, which is very cute. And then at the bottom, we have some little kind of like grid folio folder type deals. Again, in that pastel color palette with the gold foiling on the paper clips. And we have 2 full sheets of these as well. so plenty to play with. I love that, again, we have some functionality in terms of these stickers. While I do like decorative stickers, if I'm only going to get a smaller collection of stickers, it's nicer when they're functional. Because if I'm going to have decorative stickers, I'd rather have enough to do like a full monthly theme, for which I would probably need quite a lot of stickers. I can definitely say that they are matte finish, not so much on the foiling, but you're probably not going to want to write over the foiling, but the rest of these are going to be really suitable to write over with your pens. So we have the annual and weekly trackers, and then the monthly trackers and small pieces of decoration. 2 sheets for each of the 2 different types, but carefully securing our matte sticker sets so that we can get out our next item. And that one is a B5 planning stencil. I like that it tells us on the front, a ruler and a stencil all in one, create perfect layouts every time. And I think a lot of people are going to be excited about this because we've previously seen from Archer and Olive an A5 planning stencil and a couple of iterations of that, but now we have one for our B5 lovers, a bit bigger. You can use it on the, entire span of a B5 page. So if we slide this one out, you can see it in all its glory. So I'm going to hold this one this way so you can see that we have centimeters along this side here and then the boxes along the other side there. This one goes from 0 to 46, so perfect for a B5 notebook because that's the number of spaces you actually have in a B5 notebook. And then on the inside we have a variety of different boxes, and I love that it has the numbers on the side to tell you how many dot grid boxes each of those different shapes take up. We've got some little checklist ones with circles and little squares. We have a tiny hexagon, so cute, and then a variety of different sized boxes, either that have straight kind of corners or like sharp corners, or ones that have rounded corners, which is a nice touch as well. Of course, we've got that little ampersand in the corner, cute touch. But this is the type of thoughtful functionality that I love to see in stationery items. So not only having the centimeters, which are, typical for any generic ruler, I suppose, but then also having the boxes and then the half boxes measured in as well. Also, if you want to use this as a ruler, you don't want there to be any notches on the side. So they've done away with the notches, which they had in one iteration of this. I feel like we need to get this one out and actually line it up against some notebook paper. So I'm gonna gently twist this over and take these little ties off. Just undo them oh so carefully. Now as it's out of the box, we can give it a little flex test. I don't want to bend it too much because, I don't want to snap it, but it does feel like it's quite durable. It's got sturdy plastic. And I like that it's see-through clear because then when you actually put it on your paper, you can see the numbers really clearly. So if we flip this over so we can actually see it, see how well that lines up with the dot grid. Oh, it lines up so well. I love that so much. It's going to be really hard for me to show this in a way that you can appreciate because typically if I'm doing any ruling, I'm leaning down on the desk, but you can see that lines up really nicely. Then if I line up the dot grid inside of one of those boxes, so this is the 1 versus 15, or 1 dot grid box versus 15 dot grid boxes, you can see that the dot grid falls inside that, but that's to allow space for your pen to actually draw out the shape. Drawing one of those in so you can kind of see what I mean. Obviously, I need a little bit of practice with stencils. I don't use stencils very often, but it does make the setup of things a lot quicker. Like if I had to rule this out myself without using a stencil, it would have taken me a lot longer. Yes, I would like to probably spend a little bit more time lining it up so it works a little bit better, but I think that this is just going to be so great for speeding up layout creation. I want to do those little boxes. I want to check those ones out. These little boxes here, the ones that have a little checklist, those ones sit so you have one box filled in and then an empty box and then the next box filled in. So if we go and put those in, just so you can see what they look like. Again, so much quicker than me trying to draw little boxes out myself. And if I took the time to line it up a little bit better, it would look a little bit more perfect, but I am so satisfied. Of course, the actual alignment within each of the stencil boxes when you go to draw things in is really going to depend on like the size of the pen that you're using and the kind of angle you're holding your pen, but this is going to speed up journal layout making, and that is very exciting. You can also see another nifty feature it has is that at the 23rd mark and the 16th mark, we have those little circles because that's like the half and third way marks when you're using this in a B5 journal. So also a very cool feature. Carefully repackaging our stencil though and putting that one to the side because our next item is an A5 journal case. Again, I know the point isn't the packaging, but these little paper clips are so cute and this box is decently sturdy, so I'm certainly going to be holding on to this one to store things. You can never let go of a really good box. But taking the lid off so we can have a look at this case in all of its glory. Oh my gosh. I don't like to call the race before it's run, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this item is going to be my favorite. Taking a little step out so we can see this one in all of its glory, it has such a beautiful kind of like botanical floral leaf design on both the front and on the back. We've got the Archer Olive text logo here, and then we also have the spine design, which is really pretty too. So this one effectively has little bands of the stripes and then the little floral and leaf work, and a nice zipper on the side. So if we unzip this one, have a look inside. So the idea is that this one can be used to store your tapes, your pens, your journal, effectively your journal and all of its accessories. The inside cover here, so beautifully soft. Let's see, can we fit Tombos in here? Yep, certainly can. Can we fit my Papermate Inkjoy in here? Yep, certainly can. Can we fit my fountain pen in here? Yes, we can. It's obviously a little bit more snug because the barrel of this pen is a little bit thicker, but the elastic is holding up well and the stitching seems sturdy. Taking those out before I end up making a mess of something. If we drop an A5 journal into this one so you can see a size comparison, this isn't an A5 that comes with this subscription box, but you can see it fits nicely in here. So still allows room for both notebook growth and then anything else you might have stuck in. We close that one up and zip it up. Still plenty of space to fit other bits and pieces in as well. So it does offer some flexibility, which is nice. But this product is, again, I don't want to call it before we've seen everything, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be my favorite. This is beautiful. I think that in terms of the decoration on this one, it doesn't necessarily match the rest of the box as well as it could, but I think that I probably wouldn't want to have a folio with little stationary bits on it. Like if this one had the little paper clips and the little pencil and scissors and whatever on it, it would still be cute, but I think that this design is a lot nicer. It is still kind of subdued like we have in terms of the rest of the color palette. And I mean, I'm just like a sucker for like a pencil case or a zip folio or anything like that, so I am incredibly biased, but this is gorgeous. Opening it back up again so we can see this little inside pocket here. So you could use this to store your stickers in it, for instance. So we could just slip those in there, probably out of their packaging so they're a little bit flatter, and then just sit your journal on top of that. Or you could probably slip the cover of your journal, the back cover of your journal into that, so it's kind of stuck in the folio. I prefer to be able to take my journal out, so I'd probably just sit it in the cover rather than like in the cover, but it is technically an option. This also is a little pocket as well, so you can slide things down there too. Maybe if you have like your pair of scissors or something that you want to just slide in there, keep them safe. You also technically probably don't have to use this for an A5, like A5 fits in here, but if you had like a traveler's notebook or a B6, then those would fit in. You're not going to fit a B5 in here or a square journal. It's not wide enough for that or tall enough for the B5 in particular, but this one is super lovely and I am certainly going to be finding a use for it. Putting that one safely back inside of its very sturdy box, which I will definitely also be finding a use for. And then we're getting into notebook territory, the first one of which is a B5. Now the front of the box on this one is that ruled paper, so I'm interested to see what kind of paper we have in here. My preference is always going to be white paper with a dot grid because it's just the type that I actually like to use. But opening up the lid to have a look at this guy, I will say that one of the things that have sometimes surprised me about these boxes is that we have a really nice cohesive theme and then we get to the journals and they don't really fit. But thankfully that is not the case with this one. This color certainly matches the rest of the box and you can tell that the decoration matches as well. Along the edge of the notebook here we have effectively like a ruler design which is kind of engraved. I don't know what emboss and deboss actually means, but I'm going to say that it's chiseled in to the cover material. I think that's debossed, but somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. And then along with this edge design, we also have it on the spine of the notebook too. So you can see that little ruler kind of line. In terms of the back cover, we don't have any design elements on that, but if we flip back to the front cover, you can see those little stationary motifs we've seen throughout the rest of the box. So we have our little pencil, scissors, little paper clip, so cute. You can see that the cover is vegan or faux leather and has a slight texture to it, which is quite nice. We also have a pen loop and the elastic closure on there too. In terms of the paper in this one, So flipping on in, moment of truth. I mean, you can tell that it's white, but it is definitely dot grid, which I am very pleased to see. In terms of the number of pages in this one, so a typical B5 from Archer and Olive has 160 pages. This one has 112, which means it's a little bit more compact, a little bit like easier to transport because it doesn't weigh quite as much. In the inside cover, we have those little motifs again in this very kind of like soft kind of rainbow gradient. I'm a sucker for a rainbow. Usually I like my rainbows a little bit more punchy, but that wouldn't work with this box, all right? Everything is very subdued, subtle, pastel type deal, which is really, really nice. It all works so well together. Having a look for the bookmark though, so we do have 2 bookmarks. In terms of the charm on this one, it is gold, and the color of the bookmark is a kind of paler version of the color of the cover material. Because we don't have any foiling on those icons on the front or this decoration down the side, I'm not too sad about it being gold. I think that both silver or gold would have worked nicely with this one, so looks really cute. But that is only one of the notebooks in the box because our next one is an A5 notebook. In terms of the box itself, you can see we have this grid design, but if we jump on into that to have a look at the notebook itself, and of course we're hoping for nice cohesiveness in terms of our theme, and opening up we definitely have that. So we have the composition notebook style, which totally fits the vibe of like desk stationery aesthetic, and also it's that pastel kind of color, more subdued green, which matches with everything else we've had. I am so tempted to make this my next notebook, but if we tuck that to the side so we can have a look at this guy in all of his glory. So we've got that typical kind of composition notebook pattern, just done in that subdued green rather than black. I would totally be fine having a notebook exactly like this in black because I really like punchy contrast, but it wouldn't have worked for this box. So we have composition notebook written on the front with the little lines that you could technically write your name on if you wanted to. I would feel so not okay with writing on the front of the notebook just because I feel like I would definitely stuff up with writing my name. Not like misspelling it, but it would probably just look weird and then I'd be sad. But we have the little gold kind of elements along there, which is very cute. And then we also have some gold elements on the top of the spine here and also the bottom of the spine. So those little kind of leaf designs. I really appreciate spine decoration. I think it just makes the notebook feel so much more special, honestly. On the back, we again have that little kind of like scalloped edge along the spine kind of section, and then that composition style pattern on the back. Of course, our notebook comes with a pen loop. We have an elastic closure, and we will definitely have some bookmarks. Let's go check them out. Pulling those ones out, you can see we have a gold charm on here, which makes sense because we've got the gold on the spine and also on the front cover. And then the ribbon itself is a pale green, which matches really well with the cover of the notebook. In terms of the notebook paper, which is always of the biggest concern to me, we can see that it is a white dot grid, which is always going to be my preference. 5mm, same dimensions as our typical A5 notebook. This one has 192 pages, and then on the inside cover here we have those little paperclip designs again, and those ones are again done in the gold foiling. So pretty. We have the same This Book Belongs To as we have on the front, so with the little kind of corner decoration, different to what we usually see from Archer and Olive in terms of how that looks. Doing a comparison, you can see in the typical notebook on the left we have This Book Belongs To and then the Archer and Olive logo, but in this one we have the gold with the little leaf decorations, and then at the bottom of the page we have Archer and Olive again in gold. I really love this notebook. I think that the design is super pretty, and although I'm not really a pastel type person, I think that the items in this box have been so well thought out. I love the cohesiveness of the palette. I love the consideration that has obviously gone into all of the items, and I'd love to hear which of the items is either your favorite or that you're most tempted by. For me, it's probably the journal folio. I'm just a sucker for those kind of things. If you wanted to grab yourself a subscription box from Archer and Olive, then the first link in the description is where you want to check out. This box in particular has been put together so well, and I just love the kind of form versus function that we have here. Not only are the items really lovely, but we also have a lot of practicality in them. If you're ever grabbing yourself something from Archer and Olive though, and you want to save yourself some money, then you can use code JashiiCorrin10 for 10% off. It doesn't work on the subscription boxes, but it does work for other purchases. To see some of the other things that I have loved from Archer and Olive though, this playlist is the next one to check out. That one has all of our previous Archer and Olive unboxings, so click or tap on that one and I'll see you over there.